the movie's called You Cannot Kill David Arquette, and he's still here with us. There he is, David Arquette.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Buck?
What's going on, bro? How you feel, man?
I feel good. Good to see you, man. It's always great seeing you.
You on the beach?
Yeah, I'm out by the beach. Got my kids are in the pool. We're just a little apartment here.
That's awesome, man. You
Yeah,
living
man.
life, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just, man, I had to drive across the country with 2 kids and my wife. That is tough. I know wrestling's tough, but driving across the country with a 3 and a 6-year-old that's taking some bumps too.
Hey, bro, look here, man. I got twins, man. You preaching to the choir, man. I got 10-year-old twins, and bro, that first 2 years, I didn't get any sleep at all. My dog literally was, filling this paperwork out. She was ready to get up out of here too, man. It was nuts, man. I was like, God, man, this is what parenting really is, man. But it's hard, man. But it's worth it at the same.
Oh, it's the best.
You'll take a bullet, man. I know I will. I'll take a bullet for mine, man. It's one of those deals.
Oh yeah.
Hey, man. You've been getting a lot of good reviews, man. As far as your doc, man.
Thank you
about it, man. As far as what keep you motivated, because you're in a doggy dog world, man. You've been in a doggy dog world, just being out there where you are right now in Hollywood, California. It's rough out there, bro. And anybody that think that they can just pack their bag up and go out there and next thing, boom, everything is going to happen for them. It's a rude awakening, but you seem to have been able to transition from this to this to this to what I call being able to stay relevant. Staying relevant is, I think, one of the most important things in life, because you're never going to always be the center of attention. I don't care who you are. I don't care how great you are. You're never going to always be the center of attention, and you've managed that, man. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I come from an acting family, so it's not like I didn't have my foot in the door with my family and all that. But Hollywood is a rough game. It's funny. I mean, in wrestling, there's a lot of families that are generational. So in Hollywood, there's not quite as many. So it does help you get in the door, but it's a business that's just constant rejection. I mean, you get rejected probably 95% of the time, and then maybe get a little thing here, a little thing there. But you just kind of have to stick with it. I always learned, like, as an actor pretty early on, that you have to have other things going on. Like, I got my nightclub Bootsy Bellows, and if we have a production company, One Last Run, and we have XTR, which is a documentary company. So you just do a bunch of different things to keep you busy from not going crazy, waiting for your next audition, or, even trying to get your agents on the phone kind of thing. You just kind of have to do things yourselves, and that's sort of where the germ for doing the wrestling documentary came from. Just didn't want to just let sort of the internet or just certain fans define my relationship with wrestling and sort of what I went through. And I wanted to tell my story, but I also wanted to learn about wrestling. I always wanted to train. I've never been to a performance center. Like, that would have been a dream come true.
Right. Hey, man, what is it about wrestling, though, man? I mean, I know you got introduced to it. I'm not sure if it was the first time, but back in WCW was the first time you and I encountered each other. And even back then, man, I could tell, you had a love for it. Unlike a lot of people that, get thrown a bone and they just come into it really not understanding what the game is really all about. But you really love the game, man. What about, that right there, as far as, what does that come from?
Man, I just loved it from, when it blew up with, Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, Cyndi Lauper, like WrestleMania 1, like that whole time period with Piper and Hogan and Andre the Giant. I just fell in love with it, and I'd always loved it and sort of popped in and out with my friends. I wasn't like, well, I'd always try to go to events and stuff. So I always stuck with it, like sort of all along, and just always loved wrestling. So then when I was reading the Ready to Rumble script, and like page 6 or something, it said Macho Man Randy said, and I called my agent up and I said, "Are they gonna get someone to play Macho Man?" They're like, "No, it's the real Macho Man." I was like, "I'll do it. I can't believe this." So I mean, there was elements of me in that character I played that I love wrestling, and then I got to work with y'all and fell back in love with it, and then they had me involved in everything, and then that's where it sort of went south, where people were like, soon after the fall of WCW and all the stuff. So it just all like lumped me into this whole. Although I was also involved in the Judy Bagwell stuff, so I might have like some kind of heat-seeking, odd botch moments in wrestling.
Hey, David, I have a question. You just brought it up. I mean, you're talking about Ready to Rumble, which is obviously every wrestling fan's one of my favorite movies of all time. But you say you're working with Macho. Macho, I think, is the quintessential pro wrestler. When you think about what a pro wrestler is, look, physique, well, in-ring acumen, promos, costume, I mean, he had it all. What was it like working with him on set on Ready to Rumble?
I was super shy, so I didn't want to bug him, and I was like, didn't want to like mark out. But we talked a little. I was just amazed that his macho voice was always that. Like, yeah. Where do you live?
We
Where I live now. Yeah, man. So I was amazed by that, and he was just such a gracious guy, like Booker. Like when you meet the legends, like the real legends of this business, it's like, sometimes in Hollywood when you meet some of your heroes, it's a letdown. But I've learned wrestling. Most of the guys I've met have been just outstanding. Like that's the reason they're legends is because of their attitude and who they are, how they conduct themselves. And, no matter how crazy some of them are, there's it's all this like. Me and Brian Knobs are now like best buddies.
Man, it's one of my best friends, man, in the world, man.
Best guy.
With the Tokyo, Japan, and this club, man, underground called a Rolling Stone, man, till about 5 o'clock in the morning one time, man. One of the greatest nights. I'm serious, man. One of the greatest nights I ever had, man. I drank so much I had to go out, throw up, and come back in and party some more. It's one of those nights, man.
One of those nights.
No, man, but you being a fan of the sport, man, and you've seen me personally, I think wrestling was at its high when you came in. I mean, that era right there, man, it was like booming like crazy. The stars were like as big as they ever could be. Can you tell me, what's your thoughts about wrestling back then compared to now? Because now we got social media. The wrestlers are a whole lot different. I know when I watched wrestling back then as just say, for instance, a teenager, I thought everyone that came out of the curtain was the biggest star that I had ever seen in my life. Everyone. I don't care if it was Hillbilly Jim. He was still a huge star. So talk to me about, wrestling back then compared to, the way you see it now.
Yeah, there was just I don't know, the majesty of it. It was just so much larger than life, and just the characters. It almost felt like every single person that came from behind the curtain was like this. Yeah, exactly what you're saying, like this legendary character. And Hillbilly Jim, when I was a kid, yeah, completely. I bought the whole thing. I was like, where did they find him? Like he was out in the... So, yeah, but right now I think there's some real interesting stuff with AEW, with Impact, with Ring of Honor, all the independent wrestling too, that is all on hold right now. But that's one of the things about doing the independent circuit. You get like a real, I mean, I was going around during that time when all these guys were coming up, where they were just peaking to like, pow, take off into stardom, which was such a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Brian Cage, MJF, Jack Perry, Peter Avalon, all these guys are just going on this adventure of superstardom, and it's, I don't know, it's cool. I love the scene that's going on right now with wrestling. I think after this pandemic's over, it's going to be even more sort of back to the going city to city, you know what I mean? Doing the thing, like, I don't know, just I think there'll be a new appreciation. You see during this time how important the fans are, and that it's all about the fans, and it's a fan experience. And although I've been in the ring, my favorite aspect of wrestling is still being a fan, being able to joke with the other fans, and and just
Yeah,
feel for the wrestler who just took some crazy smash.
You know, David, when you were doing this documentary, You Cannot Kill David Arquette, I'm sure a lot of people were saying, this is insane. There's no reason you should be doing this. And you try to explain the reason you are and explain the art of pro wrestling to them. Was there ever a match that you would go to, like your go-to match of, okay, you don't understand wrestling? Here, watch this. This will explain it to you. For me, I always show people like Rocker Hogan or Mankind and Taker from Hell in a Cell. Is there one that you would go to show your family and friends, like, this is why I love wrestling?
Oh man, a lot of Macho Man matches. Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat, pretty amazing. I just went through, because when I would like sort of be into wrestling, and then sort of life would kind of take over, and then I'd lose track a little, and then I'd come back to it. So I missed like a lot of portions of Shawn Michaels, like big period in time. So in this process, I was able to go back and then look at a bunch of Shawn Michaels stuff, and God, that guy's incredible. But Bret Hart, always incredible storyteller and wrestler, the way they combined it. And I don't know. I went through these periods and just started just looking at everybody, and just, I don't know which matches specifically. I'm so ADD, I wouldn't even be able to remember. I get them all mixed up.
Man. Steamboat Savage, man, WrestleMania 3 is always the blueprint for me. If I'm talking to any students, man, around the world, around the United States, anywhere, man, I always can go back to that match and say, man, if you want to learn what this business really is about, watch this. And if you can't get anything out of this, you might want to move on to something else, because this is truly the art of Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, Phantom of the Opera. And I'm sure you've studied in all of those, right? All of those. But man, talk to me about the documentary, man. What made you want to do that, and let people see the journey?
I just wanted to understand wrestling a little deeper, and I always wanted to be able to train and show people that I could do something more than what I was, kind of allowed to do the first pass around. And, a lot of the wrestlers kind of got it, a little, not smaller, but like champions kind of came in all shapes and sizes at that point. And I was like, well, I'm as tall as, Seth Rollins or, Daniel Bryan. Why not? You know what I mean? I know those guys are incredible and highly, like, athletic. But I always knew I could do something. And I just always wanted to kind of stand up and kind of just have some of the haters stop.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, man, because that's my question. I'm like, man, why would you want to put yourself through that? Why would you want to go and jump off the top rope, and crash and burn? It doesn't.
I wanted to jump off the top rope since Jimmy Superfly Snuka. That's literally why I wanted to jump off the top rope.
But was it important, man? Because of the WCW thing. And you getting the title, and you have feeling like you had something to prove.
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of what it turned out is that I had to prove it to myself. I just had to believe in myself. I was kind of beating myself up for years too. So a lot of the process of this allowed me to do that, figure out like what's going on. Why am I doing all this? And then once I figured that out, it became a lot easier. But, life still kind of beats you up all the time. You got to keep your chin up, no matter what.
It's a journey, bro. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know, life is a journey. You know, we move on. We just keep putting one foot in front of the other. One thing people don't realize about people like yourself, like me as well. Sometimes they think we're different. You know, they think we don't wake up in the morning and not feel, you know, good, or, you know, not feel like 100%. You know, they sometimes when they see you on television, that cloak of invincibility, you know, it really shines through sometimes. But to let people know that you're a human, and that's what, you know, I broke down in front of my kids maybe a month ago. You know, I was crying like a baby. You know what I mean? And I go, Dad, and they were like, Dad, stop crying. I go, Dad cried too. You know, and I wanted my son to know that men cry, you know what I mean? And your dad is no different than he is, you know what I mean? So I appreciate everything you've done, man. If anybody out there, man, how do they get in touch? How do they get in touch, and how do they locate the doc, and how can they see it?
The doc's just available anywhere you could like go on demand, or iTunes or Hulu, wherever you could buy movies. Down the line, hopefully it'll go to a Hulu or something. It'll be sort of more out there, free for people to see. Right now it's sort of pay-per-view, but that's about it. And at David Arquette on Instagram and Twitter. I don't know what I got there, but
that's all you need, bro. Hey, man, I know you got to get back with the kids, man.
Hey, I want to thank you for being a part of the documentary. They didn't have too much in it, or was that like the editors? They kicked me out of the editing room. The directors and my wife, who's the producer of the movie. So I was like, you gotta get more.
Hey,
you know, Booker T, you gotta tell the story more.
That's all I need right here. Just give me a little bit. I'll do
You're the best.
I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, guys.
All the best.
Thanks, David.
Bye.